so one controversial primary to the next. Graham Platner on the ballot tomorrow. And still enjoying the support of his fellow travelers for now, although there's some polling that indicates his fave-unfave is starting to turn upside down. That could be a problem as you move into the general against Susan Collins. His defenders were out in full force, such as they are, on the Sunday talkies, starting with California's Ro Khanna, who, do they really think they're this slick? They think this approach is slick? Ro Khanna, having it both ways. Of course, he's outraged and disgusted by the alleged behavior of Platner, and he believes the woman, but by the same token, it's not disqualifying.
Years ago, the mantra was believe all women. Do you believe her?
Yes, and I don't think our side should be attacking her, and I appreciate her courage from coming forward. I know some people are saying, oh, she's a Republican. I think that is irrelevant.
Okay.
I believe her. I think Graham acted shamefully, and he acted, as the New York Times characterized it, as a toxic relationship. It is shameful. It is ugly. It happened in a dark period of his life, and the Maine voters that I met said they don't like it. They knew that he had these chapters. They are willing to extend him grace and redemption, and they're focused now on what he's running for. But I do not think we should be attacking her.
You know, the whole extending him grace and redemption, don't you have to ask for forgiveness in order to be worthy of grace and provide the opportunity for and have the opportunity for redemption? And he's not doing that. He's denying the allegations, all of them, including that he knew his Nazi tattoo was a Nazi tattoo, his Totenkopf. So, I mean, Margaret Brennan, if she was a serious journalist, since that word's being thrown around so much this weekend between Pelley and Welker, and so then you think Graham Platner is lying. So it's not just about, if you believe her, then by definition he's lying. So it's not just about what he's accused of doing, which you believe he did. He's also categorically lying about it, according to you, because you believe the accuser. Right? Khanna went on to say, no harm, no foul. It's if he would have punched her, that's a problem. Grabbing her by the shoulders and hurting her in an argument, according to her, again, something that Ro Khanna said he believes, that's not enough to be disqualifying.
View, there's nothing credible at this point?
My view is that even according to the New York Times piece, they said there was no harm, no injury. There was toxicity, and there was verbal intimidation, which I condemn. But Graham has made it clear that there was no evidence of violence. That, to me, is a red line. Oh, yeah. Don't cross that red line, sure. Mark Warner provided the sort of mealy-mouthed answer you're getting, not like Ro Khanna and others, and asked about it. Look, I got to worry about that's up to Maine voters to decide. Yeah, we know. What do you think about it? You're a sitting United States senator, and certainly when the accusations are leveled against a Republican or a Republican president's nominee for Supreme Court, you're happy to pile on and opine at length. This is not the case with Platner.
If these allegations are true, obviously they're disturbing. As father of 3 daughters, but end of the day, the folks in Maine are going to decide that. I've got my own campaign. I'm trying to get rehired this year, and that's what I'm focused on. I wish we lived in a world where everybody's behavior was maybe what we had in the earlier times from elected officials, but folks in Maine are going to make that decision.
Well, I understand that you're saying that, but Democrats were quick to believe other women who accused powerful people. Christine Blasey Ford made allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. When allegations surfaced 9 years ago about former Senator Al Franken, you said sexual harassment, misconduct, and assault is never all right and cannot be tolerated. Should those women who are saying these things about Platner be believed? I think the sexting I think he's acknowledged that. I think his wife has acknowledged that. This is a guy that served, had PTSD. End of the day,
there we go.
Is it really the choice of folks in Washington, or is it the choice of the folks in Maine.
So banal. John Fetterman, yeah, taking a much more aggressive stance than some of his caucus mates. First of all, he refers to Platner as P-Hustle, which, of course, was his handle on that Kick site that allegedly is a haven for pedophiles. Fetterman has a challenge to Platner since these two are having a bit of a running war of words.
Yeah, well, no, of course, I never heard from P. Hustle. But what's strange with P. Hustle is back in April, he was doing an interview on that pro-Hamas Zedio network or whatever that thing is, and he said that I am the bane of his existence, and really was angry how I dressed too. And now I said, now P. Hustle, here's a great chance. You can just prove that all these people that you're dropping those dick pics and saying these things to were over 18, and now I will wear a suit every day in the Senate, and now you can set the record clear and provide all those texts and all those conversations that you were having as a newlywed just before you were going to run for the Senate.
Seems like a square deal. For more on the race, please be joined by Steve Collins, columnist for Maine Trust for Local News. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure.
So how does this race shake out tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's a primary, so
right.
I'm reasonably sure that Platner will win the primary, and then we go on to the big show.
Well, I mean, I just was curious because I know Janet Mills has been running around saying, I just suspended my campaign. I haven't withdrawn, and there was even some, ink spilled trying to prop up the other opponent after Mills suspended her campaign as an alternative, because it seems to me at least some Democrats in Maine fear that Platner is going to fall under his own weight.
Well, there certainly are Democrats who are worried about that. But Mills, our Governor Janet Mills, is suspended her campaign. Really hasn't done much of anything to ask people to vote for her. There are definitely a fair number of people, and we'll find out tomorrow how many, who will vote for her or for David Costello, another candidate, sort of as a protest.
Right.
But Platner will win the primary.
So how damaging is what has been revealed, and sort of in the on balance? I know the argument is being made. But Susan Collins' voting record is worse than Graham Platner's despicable behavior, and it was a dark period of his life, and all the other rationalizations. But how damaging is it really? I mean, because the contrast between Collins and him couldn't be more stark.
Well, yeah. I mean, the problem that Platner's going to face is that he has lost a small percentage of his potential voters. I mean, many people will come back, but not all of them. Mm-hmm. And that's assuming that there aren't more scandals or problems to come. But his chances to beat Susan Collins, he was going to win a fairly narrow victory over her at best, and he can't afford to lose anybody. And he probably he's probably already lost them.
And what is Susan Collins? I mean, is Susan Collins' main vulnerability just duration? I mean, does she like the tack she takes, where she's sometimes with Trump and sometimes against, and she's, I mean, which she's been doing for a long time. I mean, she's obviously the frustration of a lot of conservatives sometimes, but that frustration puts her in sort of good standing with the wide swath of the Maine electorate generally. I mean, she obviously keeps winning.
Well, she has successfully done that for many years. I'm skeptical that she is as popular as she used to be. I mean, Maine is not thrilled with Trump, and Susan Collins hasn't seemed quite as antagonistic to the administration as she was back in his first term. But she's a very smart politician, and even though both sides have their problems with her, she's going to get a lot of votes, and Graham Platner's got a tough road ahead of him.
Is Graham Platner's sort of like appeal and reported appeal to working class voters? Is that Is that starting to wear too, given more information about his actual background educationally, work history wise, or is that still sort of going to be his bread and butter in this race and keep him competitive?
Well, it's definitely his bread and butter. I haven't noticed that people as a whole seem like they're losing any faith in him. He's when you see him in person, he's a very charismatic guy. He's he's surprisingly smart for someone not that much education, and he comes across really well. He's a good candidate. He just doesn't have a good background.
Well, yeah, I mean, a good candidate, but I mean, do you believe that he didn't know that, for example, that the tattoo was a Totenkopf?
Look, I assume all politicians are lying to me, so I don't know.
Well, I understand like lying, but I mean, then there's sort of like you're insulting my intelligence level lying, and not just one instance of it, but one instance after another, after another, after another, and that seems to be his problem. I mean, I pointed out with Ro Khanna, it's like, well, you if you can't ever relate both ways. If you believe the women, then you're saying something about Graham Platner's honesty in addition to his conduct.
Yeah, I mean that is a totally fair criticism. Totally fair.
So how do you? I mean, this portends to be a very expensive race, a lot of money spread across a relatively small electorate. So how do you think this shakes out? How do you think this shakes out?
Well, I have no doubt that every Mainer is going to be sick to death of this race by November. And how it shakes out, I think that Platner's going to have a very hard time holding on to especially the older white women, especially more educated ones and I don't see how he wins the race without getting more of those votes.
And I mean, it has been helpful to him that his wife has sort of stood by him, at least initially. So that seems to me a key to sort of provide some ballast there.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no question that Graham Platner could win this race. Susan Collins' popularity is down, and he's a new guy on the block, and he's an energetic, interesting guy. So we'll see.
Steve Collins is a columnist for Maine Trust for Local News. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure. Take care.
Take care. And he joined us in the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps